Alright guys, this is a review for your quiz 3B, and just to let you know, we have cut the quiz down. It's only 10 questions, so this is just a good review of all the possible types of questions, but then you'll probably see 2 or 3 from each section instead of 4 to 6. Alright, on the first one, you just want to do a rough sketch of the graph, so it doesn't matter if you start up or down. But the first thing you're going to need to do is write your zeros. So anytime you just have an x, you're going to do a 0 point. So it's a 0 on the x-axis. So your other x-intercept would be 2, -2, and +3. Plot those. So -2, +2, +3. Remember that whenever you have an odd exponent, that means you cross. And that when you have an even exponent, that means you bounce. Okay, so whenever I get to the -2, that's a 1, so that would be an odd exponent. I would just cross right through that. When I get to this one is also a 1, so I'm just going to turn and cross through that. However, when I get to the 2, notice the even exponent right here. That means I'm going to go up and bounce off of it just like a bouncy ball would hit the ceiling. Okay, then on the 3, it's also to the first exponent, so you're just going to turn back around and go through it. Alright, on the next one, that one would be a 3, a -4. This one is a little on the tricky side. Remember our little bottoms up thing? So either you can think bottom, up, and so you would change the sign by going backwards, or if you needed to go over to the side, you could add 1 to both sides, divide by 2, and also get, +1/2 because you had to change the sign. So you do a point at 3, -4, +1/2. Okay, so at -4, it's just a 1, so I'm going to cross through it. At 1/2, it's a 2, so I'm going to bounce. And then turn back around, and the 3, I will go through that one. Graph should look something like that. On the other hand, if you started up here, your graph is just going to look a little flip-flop reverse from mine. Okay, and you won't get any points off for that because, again, it is just a rough sketch. Okay, so the next one, this one would be 0, 6, -4. So 0, 6, -4. So always start on this side, and so it says a 3. Well, the higher the exponent is, the flatter it will be when it crosses the x-axis. So when I go up here, I'm going to slowly kind of cross through it. Okay, notice how it's flat compared to these where I just went straight through it. And then at 0, you're going to come back down and bounce, come to your 6 and go through. Okay, then on this one, this multiplication sign that's here is just extra. That means the same thing as the two things being side by side, because that also means multiplication. Okay, and then on this you have a -2. So at the 3, you're going to put a dot there, and at the -2, we have an odd, and again it's a high odd degree, not just a 1, so you're slowly going to go through that. Then you're going to turn back around to your 3, and you're going to slowly go through that because, again, that's a higher exponent, so you kind of want to flatten out. Okay, all right, then we move on to something different. On this part, we're just talking about domain and range. Okay, please remember your domain is your x values, so that's left to right. Your range is your y values, up and down. Your zeros are your x values, which is where that crosses the x-axis, and then your y-intercepts. Remember that your y-intercept is written, your y-intercept is written as a point, and the x value is always 0. Okay? Alright, so if I want to start with my domain, there's an arrow on both sides of the graph, but your domain for any polynomial function is going to be that it continues forever and ever in the negative direction and the positive direction. So you can either put the R symbol for all real numbers, or you can put -infinity to +infinity. Either one would be acceptable. with the range. The lowest this graph goes, because you read it from the bottom to the top, would be right here at -4. So we're going to put bracket -4 up to, notice the arrows, positive infinity. Your zeros are your x values, so I'm going to put just x equals, so my x equals -2 and +2, and my y-intercept, there's two of those, or sorry, just one of those, and it's 0, -4. All right, for number 6. Number 6, domain again, all real numbers. And the range, because there's an arrow going down to -infinity and up to positive infinity, you can either put all real numbers or -infinity to positive infinity, whichever one you want to write. And then your zeros, those would be your x-intercepts. So we're just going to put x equals, and that is -1 and +1. And your y-intercept is just 0, 0. Oops, and I forgot there's also an x-intercept of 0. Okay, moving on to the back side. A couple more of the same type of things. Okay. For number 7, this one's kind of a bad problem that I shouldn't have put on here, because at some point it is going to cross the y-axis. We just don't know when. So we're just going to put NA, because we don't know. Alright, so again, domain, all real numbers. Your range, the lowest it goes is -6, so bracket -6 up to infinity. And your x-intercepts are 4 and 6. So x equals 4 and 6. All right, and then number 8, domain, all real numbers. Range, there's an arrow going to -infinity and an arrow going to positive infinity. So all real numbers. Your x-intercepts are -1, and I'm going to say 1/2, so -1 and 1.5. And your y-intercept would be 0, -1. Okay, moving on to the next one, ask you about the domain. Well, again, the domain for any polynomial is all real numbers. So if you want to go ahead and write that, you can. Okay, then the y-intercept is the constant that's on the end. Well, this is a constant, so the y-intercept is going to be 0, -6. Here, there's not a constant, so it would have to be 0, so 0, 0. And here it would be -1. And here it would be -2. The number of zeros is the exponent. There's no x here, so the number of zeros is 0. Right here, the highest exponent is 3, so there's 3. On this one, the highest exponent is 3. And on this one, it's an understood 1. Alright, now for the hard part. Number 13. When you're writing a polynomial backwards, remember that the first thing you have to do is to write them as linear factors, which means you need to change the sign to put it back with the x. Okay, so that's one of them. Also remember that i's and roots, because an I is also a root, that they are always written in pairs. So if there is a 3i, then there's also a -3i. So -3i, +3i. And it's best to multiply your conjugates together. Remember, your conjugates are when they're the exact same except for the sign in the middle. With conjugates, you can do the shortcut first times first and last times last. Should give you 9i squared. But remember, you can cross out your I squared and it changes the sign. Okay, so now I have to multiply this out. X times x squared gives me x cubed. X times 9. X times 2 times x squared. And 2 times 9. Combine like terms if there are any. And I like to write mine in standard form because that's proper. And you're done with that one. Okay, number 14. Remember, with these, it's bottoms up and change the sign. So 4x plus 1. And they've already wrote both of your radicals for this one. So negative root 5 and positive root 5. Again, these two are conjugates, so shortcut x times x. Negative root 5 times root 5, which is the square root of 25, and the square root of 25 we know is 5. Bring down my next piece. Multiply it out. So 4x times x squared, 4x cubed, 4x times 5, 20x, 1 times x squared, 1 times 5. And there aren't any like terms, so just put it in the correct order. Alright, then number 15. Okay, number 15 is one of your more easy ones because it's not as messy. It would again still be bottoms up, change the sign. This one is very, very nice because it has conjugates, meaning just a lot of things are going to cancel and it's not as big and messy of a problem as it could have been. So first times first, last times last. There's that. Bring your next piece down. Multiply it out. 3x cubed minus 75x plus 5x squared minus 125. Put it in the correct order. And there's that one. Alright, I want to move on to number 17 because this one I have a feeling I'm going to need an extra sheet of paper for some more room. So number 17, you should have x minus 4. And these always come in pairs. Remember, the I is always written in a pair, but this is one whole piece, so be careful. Okay, so I'm going to have x minus 3 minus 2i, although I kind of messed up my 2, and then x minus 3 plus 2i. If I were you, I'd multiply those two together. Sadly, there's no shortcut. So x times x is x squared, then negative 3x, then 2ix, then multiply with the negative 3, so negative 3x, positive 9, and negative 6i. Multiply with the negative 2, so negative 2ix, and positive 6i. And then this last one, you get a negative 6i squared. I'm going to go ahead and mark out my I squared and change the sign. And then a lot of pieces should cancel. This one is an opposite of this one, and these two are opposites. So I can bring down my x squared, done with that one. Negative 3x and negative 3x make negative 6x. And then 9 plus 6 gives me 15. Multiply that times your x minus 4. So if I multiply it times my x, basically each one of these just goes up one exponent. So I'm going to get x cubed minus 6x squared plus 15x. Then multiply each one times negative 4. Positive 24x and negative 60. Combine like terms. The cube is the highest. These two make negative 10x squared. These two make 39x minus 60. Alright, number 18. This would be x minus 1, and again, roots are always in pairs, so x plus root 7, x minus root 7. Bring this down. Multiply the conjugates together, you get x squared minus 7 times 7 is 49, and the square root of 49 is 7. Multiply it out, I get x cubed minus 7x minus x squared plus 7. Write it in the math order by exponent. And there's that one. Okay, number 16, I'm going to get a separate sheet of paper for. Alright, number 16. So on 16, bottoms up, you're going to have 5x plus 2. Roots come in pairs. So there's going to be an x minus 3 plus root 10 and an x minus 3 minus root 10. This one's going to be a little messy. I'm going to multiply it out first. So I have x multiplied by all three pieces would give me x squared minus 3x minus root 10x. Then multiply each piece by the negative 3. So negative 3x plus 9 plus 3 root 10. And last but not least, the root 10 times each thing. So root 10x, root 10 times negative 3 gives you negative 3 root 10. And then on the last one, a positive times a negative is a negative. 10 times 10 is 100. The square root of 100 is 10. So you put negative 10 on the end. Alright, then a lot of stuff is going to cancel, like your negative root 10x and your positive root 10x. Your positive 3 root 10, your negative 3 root 10. Okay, and you're left with x squared, bring it down. Negative 3x make negative 6x. And 9 minus 10 gives me negative 1. Bring down this piece. Okay, then we're going to need to multiply that out. So 5x times each thing is going to give us 5x cubed minus 30x squared minus 5x. Then the 2 times everything gives us 2x squared minus 12x minus 2. Combine like terms. This one doesn't have any, so bring it down. Like term there and there, negative 30 and positive 2 make negative 28 squared. Negative 5 and negative 12 make negative 17x. Bring down your negative 2. There you go. Alright, and real quick, if you will put a heart next to your name on the quiz tomorrow, I will give you an extra 2 points for watching my video. Don't tell anybody else. Thanks, guys. Have a great night. Good luck studying.